Here's the Spurs news roundup, providing the latest Tottenham news in the last 24 hours. That's how the first part of the video works. Second part of the video, really dissect it and give my analysis on every single story. So if you're new, please stay tuned to the end and like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. The Tottenham headlines firstly. So Paul O'Keefe, via the Last Word on Spurs podcast, said everyone in the game I've spoken to says Eberechi Eze will be a Tottenham Hotspur player. As of right now, there's no reason why this move can't get over the line. Paul O'Keefe said, I don't see a world where, at the moment anyway, unless there's a dramatic turn of events, where they can't get the deal over the line. Next, Paul O'Keefe said Tottenham do want to bring in all three positions of a number 10, a left winger and a left-sided centre-back this summer if they can. Paul O'Keefe said that Thomas Frank is a big fan of midfielder Rodrigo Bentancur and the wheels are in motion regarding a new contract at Tottenham. Paul O'Keefe said Tottenham do intend to go back in for Savinho. It will have to take a club record fee though to bring the Brazilian to the club. It's official, Tottenham have announced that Spence has signed a new long-term contract with the club. Fabrizio Romero reports that Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy was in direct talks with Crystal Palace chairman Steve Parish on Monday. Spurs are willing to do an offer of a fixed fee of £55 million plus £5 million in add-ons to get the deal done. Sasha Tavioli reports that Crystal Palace are in advanced talks with Leicester City to sign their Eberechi Eze replacement, which will be Bayo El Khanous. Sasha Tavioli also reports that Crystal Palace and Tottenham are now closing in on an agreement on a £60 million deal for Eberechi Eze. Quick loan watch for you. Tottenham loanee Will Lakshiya scored his first goal for Oxford United on Sunday. He got an 8 FOTMOB rating, 76 minutes he played. He got one goal, created 2 chances, had 2 shots and 12 out of 15 accurate passes, so an 80% pass accuracy. Next, the Daily Telegraph report that Crystal Palace have made a €30 million bid for Club Brugge midfielder Christoph Zulis. He's among the players that Crystal Palace are looking at to try and land. As Tottenham tried to land Eberechi Eze. This is looking into replacements now for Crystal Palace. They've got 2 lined up, Zulis and El Khanous. Sasha Tavioli reports that Club Brugge consider Christopher Zulis to be 100% non-transferable. He recently signed a new contract. It's official, Christian Romero has also signed a new long-term contract at Tottenham. Fabrizio Romano said that Christian Romero decided to stay back in June. Now a new contract has been signed. Thomas Frank sees the Tottenham captain as a key part of the project, and despite the links with Atletico Madrid, a deal was never close. Next, a report from BBC 5 Live states that Manchester City have decided to keep Savinho. They want him to stay. Standard Sport report that Tottenham Hotspur are now viewing midfielder Rodrigo Bentancur as a key part of Spurs boss Thomas Frank's plans, therefore meaning Spurs have absolutely no intention to sell the Uruguayan midfielder this summer. Gimme Sport report the fee between Tottenham and Crystal Palace for Eberechi Eze is almost agreed in principle. Crystal Palace will sanction an exit once they find a replacement. Next, a report from The Sun states that Crystal Palace will only sell Eberechi Eze once a replacement has been signed and will continue to play him until one is sorted. Tottenham are understood to have made a bid in the region of £60 million over the weekend. Fabrizio Romano reports that despite Premier League appreciation, Bayern Leverkusen have no intention to sell Tottenham Hotspur transfer target Pierre Hincapié this summer. Next, a report from Fabrizio Romano on YouTube. He said that Tottenham Hotspur need to put big money on the table for Savinho, which is to bid more than €70 million. €50 million and €65 million is not enough to convince Manchester City. If Spurs don't bid high enough, Savinho will stay at Man City. Man City are not desperate to sell Savinho. Mohamed Kudus has since reflected on his Tottenham debut in the Premier League against Burnley, saying the reception from the fans was incredible. Both goals, I do not think they were perfect crosses, but Richie makes them look so good. As a winger, I'm here to serve the strikers. Next, a report from Sky Sports states that Romero's contract will be valid until 2029. Gimme Sports state that Tottenham's deal to sign Eberechi Eze is stalled due to Crystal Palace not having a replacement lined up. Spurs still believe that Eberechi Eze will be their player once the transfer window closes. No player created more chances with 5 in the Premier League last weekend than Tottenham forward Mohamed Kudus did. Next, Paul O'Keefe said that Basuma is on the list of potential targets for Everton still in this window. West Ham also considered him earlier in the window, but they haven't followed up on their interest. Basuma wants to stay in England and he wants to stay in the Premier League. The Sun Football report that Chelsea failed with a £13 million player plus cash bid to West Ham for Mohamed Kudus before he signed for Tottenham. The player offered was Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. Despite claiming he only wants Spurs, the Ghanaian even agreed personal terms with Chelsea. Jed Spence on the path to earning a new deal at Tottenham. Spence said, "It's been a rollercoaster road. I've been resilient and fast forward. I'm here now. I'm playing and I'm happy. So I'm just over the moon." Next, the report from the Sun Football states that Jed Spence's new deal with Tottenham, like Romero, runs until 2029 now, with an option to extend for a further season until 2030. Tottenham's Fabio Paratici was spotted at Crystal Palace versus Chelsea the other day. They know the end is coming, the words of David Alstein, as Crystal Palace look for replacements, he says, for Tottenham target Eberechi Eze. Lucas Bergwijn spoke about facing Manchester City next week, saying, "We know what we can do. We're a really, really good squad, and last year we won 4-0 away at Man City. It's still a really tough game. We need to be ready." Christian Romero on signing a new deal at Tottenham. Romero said, "After winning the Europa League, it's like a special season now. We want to win. Why not win again this season? Another trophy with this club is important for everyone. The last 2 weeks, first captain and now to sign the contract with the club. For me, it's a fantastic decision. First time as captain, it was incredible for me going on that pitch with my son on Saturday. It was special for me. I love football. I love this club. It was special for me going on the pitch with him. My message to the fans is thank you for amazing support every day and at every match is important for the team. I'm very happy here in this club. For me, this club is the best in the world. I love football. I love this club." Gimme Sport report. The Tottenham Hotspur are considering a move for Real Sociedad winger Takefusa Kubo. Sociedad are prepared to sanction Kubo's sale if the clubs are willing to stump up at least €70 million. That's about £60 million for the Japanese winger. Mikey Moore spoke about joining Rangers on loan and signing a new contract at Tottenham. Moore said, "It's massive for me. I want to go and play in the biggest competition and I want to be one of the best players in the world, hopefully. I've signed a new contract at Spurs, but at the minute I'm focused on playing here. I'm just buzzing to go and play some massive games at this football club." Next, the Telegraph report. Tottenham are believed to be benefiting from new investment this summer, whether that is from existing owners ENIC or outside sources. It was seen as significant that Lewis was sat next to Daniel Levy during the opening day win against Burnley. This was Vivianese Lewis. Next, Jed Spence spoke in more detail about signing a new deal at Tottenham, saying, "I'm over the moon, happy to sign. I just can't wait to start the season and get going. I just want to keep playing well and reach at a higher level. Everyone has trials and tribulations, but I'm a fighter. I always work hard, try to do my best and come back from everything. It's been difficult. It's been a rollercoaster road for everyone, every challenge. I've been resilient and fast forward. I'm here now, I'm playing, I'm happy, I'm just over the moon. I've learned a lot over the last few years, playing in different countries, learning new things. It's a great season for myself, probably a breakthrough season in the Premier League. I was happy with myself. Hopefully I can continue and get to new heights. It was a good feeling. Hopefully I can continue this year and hopefully we can win something. The new manager's been good with me, speaks to me a lot, gives me confidence. That's really important for a player. This season we can do something big. I have a good feeling. I want to repay them for good performances and winning games. I'm going to target for this season to win a trophy and play as many games as I can and just win." Next, Sasha Tavioli says, as previously reported, Crystal Palace and Tottenham are getting even closer to an agreement for Eberechi Eze. However, a deal was not expected to be finalised this Monday. Further discussions on certain details related to payment terms are set to take place in the coming hours. TBR Football reports and understands that Manchester City have told Pep Guardiola they feel personally they should cash in on Savinho. The winger has made it clear he's open to joining Tottenham and Daniel Levy is prepared to pay over £60 million. Pep will not be happy about this. Next, the Daily Telegraph report. The sources close to negotiations now believe Tottenham Hotspur are edging their way towards clinching the signing of attacking midfielder Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace in the deal, which is expected to be finalised under £60 million. Paul O'Keefe said earlier on in the summer, Thomas Frank admired Eberechi Eze as a player, but preferred other players over him, which turned out to be Morgan Gibbs-White. However, Frank is fully on board with this signing. Tottenham have announced a partnership with Hugo Boss to become our official fashion partner for the 25-26 season. Boss will supply exclusive outfits for our men's and women's first team, including coaching staff, for selected fixtures and official events throughout the campaign. Eberechi Eze has removed Crystal Palace from his Instagram bio. And last but not least, a report from The Guardian states that Tottenham are continuing talks over Eberechi Eze, but Crystal Palace want to line up a replacement before sanctioning his sale. Leicester are thought to want around £26 million for Bioel Canous, and Palace are also chasing Christopher Zoulas of Club Brugge. The saga is ongoing. So those are your Tottenham headlines in the last 24 hours. Quite a lot. You know, we've got 2 contract extensions in Spence and Romero. I say that, 2 completely new contracts, to be frank. And we've made significant progress with the likes of Eze. So let's go through them. We'll try and pick out the main ones. I don't think we get time to pick through them all. So what have we got first? Paul O'Keefe saying that he doesn't see a reason why his move can't go over the line. It's going to take a dramatic turn of events. That's what you want to hear from someone like Paul O'Keefe, who's very reliable when it comes to Tottenham anyway. So that's really what you want to hear, because I've said it before and I'll say it again, as a re-signing, that makes a massive difference. He's a top player. And it's surprising in a way that Tottenham do want to bring in all three positions, a 10, a left winger and a left centre-back this summer. And that's absolutely the right thing to do. I didn't realise, and I said it before on this channel and other channels, I didn't realise how much we actually did need a centre-back. But I look at the defence we've got. I look at Romero and Van der Ven, firstly, their track record with injuries. I know it's a completely different manager. Not quite high demand with a new new manager, new system, and Van der Ven won't be playing that ridiculously high line. So that will help him. That's important to bear in mind. But only Danso and Vuskovic are the only two backup centre-backs we've got, and there's a possibility, isn't there? Vuskovic goes on loan, and just leaving Danso on his own, it doesn't feel right. It's just right to still get those players in. I'd be happy with 2, but 3 Suns in positions this window would be great. Left winger would be my. I think we need it, but it'd be after. I'd go, okay, let's address that after. It has to be for me number 10. Then it has to be centre-back. Then we move on to left wing. I'd even like full-back cover, but I don't think that'll happen. Frank seems to be happy with that. Maybe that left centre-back can play left back. Time will tell. No surprise that Frank's a big fan of Ben Score. We've heard reports about that. I mean, new contract coming at Tottenham. I do wonder if he'd be part of that leadership group. Obviously, don't know what he's like in that dressing room, but I do wonder if he'll be part of that. Interesting that Paul O'Keefe said Tottenham tend to go back in for Savinho. I personally don't think it's happened. If I had to give my gut feeling now at the time of recording, I think we'd get Eze over the line, which seems really close. It's almost inevitable now. And Savinho, I don't think will happen. I think he'll stay at Manchester City. I don't think we'll sign both. I think it'll be one or the other. And I don't think it will be Savinho, because I just think that Man City, despite some reports, I think that they want him to stay. Pep wants him to stay. I think he'll take a club record fee, like other sources say, and I just don't see Tottenham doing that. I mean, the contract extensions feel like new signings. I'll start with Spence firstly. I think he's a great defender. I mean, name me someone better in 1v1 battles, and I'll be absolutely waiting. Well earned. It'd be good to know from the club how long it would be. Obviously, we hear from reports, and I do believe them, especially the ones that I've read out that are reliable from credible tier 1 sources, but it's frustrating the club now. Don't disclose that information of new contract extensions, current contract lengths of any players or new players. It's incredibly frustrating. But no, Spence, that's really good, and I think to have 3 top full-backs in a doggy, Porro and Spence is crucial. And you'd argue that Spence should keep his starting place with the doggy coming back, to be totally honest with you. Spence at left, but that's the thing. Spence has played his majority of his games, I do believe this as well, for Tottenham at a position, has done an incredible job. Interesting to see how those talks between Daniel Levy and Steve Parish went, both tough as nails in terms of they're not going to give in. Steve Parish doesn't tend to demand a lot for Crystal Palace players, and same with Mark Gahey. It's a low fee, but the impression I get is that he doesn't want to be kind of manipulated, Parish, and he will stand up for the interest of the club, and he believes in it being paid all at once. He's not that kind of Levy guy with instalments, so I do think they could potentially clash on that, but time will tell. I mean, just taking my Spurs kind of hat off for a minute, Palace can get El Khanous in. They're still going to lose Eze, and it's still downgrade, don't get me wrong, but El Khanous, they can trigger his relegation release clause, which is about 22.5 million, I think, somewhere between there and 25 million pounds from reports. Then that would be an excellent bit of business where they'd make quite a bit of money to spend elsewhere or reinvest back in the team, or reinvest in their project, even back into building a new stand, etc, etc. And I think they'd get a good player in El Khanous. That makes more sense than Zulis of Club Brugge, who's just signed a new contract and will cost significantly more, in my opinion anyway, or will cost more than he's worth, whereas El Khanous you can get for under his market value because of that relegation release clause. I can't imagine that's active for too much longer. £60 million is the fee rumoured to be reported around Eze, and Tottenham is not a lot at all, if I'm totally honest with you. It's absolutely worth that. If we can throw 60 million at Richarlison, including add-on 65 at Solanke, etc., 50 for Johnson or whatever it was, then we can absolutely afford to pay 60 million for a better player in Eberechi. Eze will actually score his first goal. I think he'll do really well at Oxford United. I'm looking forward to seeing him there. So great start to his campaign there. Palace have made a bid, €30 million. There you go. He's already costed slightly more for Christopher Zulis. I personally think they'd want 40 million, and he's just absolutely not worth half of that. That's the problem we've got here. So I hope Palace can get their replacement, whoever it is. I think El Khanous would be the simple deal, because I believe anyway you should trigger that relegation release clause. Surely there's not much problem with that. Next, Romero's new contract. I mean, this is absolutely massive. Honestly, it's huge. I'm really, really happy that he's got a new deal. I just think that he's so close to leaving a little while ago. So Frank, with full credit to him for convincing him to stay. I don't know if it was before or after the Frank appointment. I mean, Fritz has only decided to stay back in June. But either way, credit to Frank, credit to the club for keeping him there, and it's just great to have someone like Romero. I think he's one of the best defenders in the world among this fan base. Like with any other fan base, you overrate some players, you underrate the others. Romero's underrated for me among broadly the football world, also among Spurs fans. I'm not sure I'm making a report. BBC 5 Live saying that Man City decided they want Savinho to stay. I think that's what they'd want to do, but whether they can stop him or not, I don't know. I personally think Savinho is probably keen on the move to Tottenham. In fact, Guardiola won't stand in his way, but it's the money that's a real barrier, and the wage as well, because his wage would, I believe, double if he reaches, I think it's 100 appearances in Manchester City. That's what reports are saying. Well, so we got Palace will sanction it. Yeah, we're just waiting for Palace to sign a replacement. And final bits of the details, it looks like that is going to be holding up. Hincape of Bayer Leverkusen, always what I'd call a bit of a dream zone. I think they turned away from Atletico Madrid, didn't they? The dream is probably dying, if not dead already. I would love Hincape, and I would love, kind of having a player like that in your defence and your team. But I just don't think it's going to happen, so I don't want to talk too much about it. It's going to take the big bucks for Savinho. Will Tottenham be willing to pay it as well as Eze? As I said, I personally think if I had to predict the rest of our window, I think we're signing a centre-back and we're signing Eze, which I would be happy with. I do think the club that finished 17th in the Premier League last season should be signing both Eze and Savinho. A real act of ambition, statement of intent to really avoid a repeat and back the new manager. Because if Frank is given Savinho, Eze, a new centre-back, he cannot say, and fans cannot say, he hasn't been backed. It's as simple as that. However, if we sign just Eze and a centre back, I still think it'd make it a really good window, a really positive window. Probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. But it's not really maybe the statement window we needed after the catastrophic Premier League season last time out, and winning that trophy in the Europa League, yes, and failing to build on that. That's the thing that I think makes a big difference. Getting both those players, Savinho does make a big difference. But Eze, if you said to me out of the two, Harry, Eze or Savinho, I would go Eze purely because I think we need a number 10 more, and also I think Eze is the better player, would be the statement signing. Savinho would be an excellent signing for Tottenham, and Eze would be even further than that, a statement signing in my eyes. Interesting that Kudus didn't think his 2 crosses were very good for Richarlison, very humble guy. I mean, I thought they were not quite perfect, a little bit behind Richarlison for that second goal, which makes it even a special goal. They set it up nicely as well for the overhead kick. Scarfe was saying that, Romero's contract's valid until 2029. Of course, you'd hope for it to be longer, you'd hope 2030 or 2032, but realistically, it's the longest it's ever going to be, is it? Let's be honest with you. Can we Sport kind of just saying what we've said, and Palace is stalled because of that replacement. I mean, Kudus created the most chances in the Premier League last weekend with 5. It just shows you he just brings something to this team Tottenham don't currently have. Interesting with Basuma. Everton are interested. I don't think Everton will pursue that now. I think they've signed Kieran Dewsbury Hall, haven't they? I like that we've got competition for Paulinho. Is Basuma the right guy? I'm not sure. I keep changing my mind on that. There's some football saying that Chelsea did put bid in £30 million plus Kieran Dewsbury Hall that was rejected. So maybe it makes the only one Spurs look kind of less credible, but nonetheless we're still going to use that to wind up West Ham fans, to wind up Chelsea fans. Spence speaks very well at signing his new deal again, 2029, this time with an option to extend. Baba Paratici, is he watching Eberechi against Chelsea? I'd be interested to know. And just with David Olsen just saying as well that they know the end is coming, just gives you so much confidence as a Tottenham fan. What else we've got? Oh yeah, got the report about Real Sociedad's winger Kubo. Don't know too much about him, but a lot of people just saying that they like the player, but it's not worth that. That's the thing, inflated market at the moment. Mikey Moore seems really concentrated, really well grounded. Talks about he wants to be one of the best players in the world. He needs to keep his head down though and crack on at Rangers, and I hope he does very, very well. The Telegraph again, no surprise. They're saying Tom believed to be benefiting from new investment. I don't know if it's from Enoch or outside sources. I think it's probably from Enoch, from Joe Lewis himself. I don't know. My guess, I guess will be as good as mine. Either way, it looks like we're going to be spending a lot more money, which is what you want. Absolutely fantastic. TVR Football, what they're saying is, they feel City should themselves feel they should cash in on Savinho, and the players open to join Tottenham. No surprise here. And the rest is kind of the same. Boss being a new partner, I think that's a really nice partnership. It feels like a new signing, doesn't it? But no, all jokes aside, it's nothing like worthy of sharing about. It's not transfers, but I think we had a boss partner on our run during the 2019 Champions League final. Just saying, we could recreate that again. No surprise if Frank wanted more Gibbs White, but he's happy with Eze. His worries, wasn't there? Would have Frank wanted Eze? Would have Eze wanted Tottenham? And what's really good, all these worries about, because there's a clip going around saying how he's an Arsenal fan who was younger. Well, it looks like he wants Tottenham and Frank wants him, so it's absolutely perfect. Eze never had Crystal Palace on his ex bio, but he did have it on his Instagram bio. Some saying it's never there, and I don't know. I can't vouch for that because I didn't check Eze's socials, if I'm honest with you. But it's certainly not there now. Some people saying it has been removed, but it was on X originally. Leicester want £26 million to buy away Canoes. Well, I think they can just trigger the relegation release clause, but sometimes it's easier, as we've seen with Morgan Gibbs White, just to trigger that, above the release clause and avoid any aggro. But that is your daily Spurs news roundup with me, Harry Scarfe. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new, like and subscribe, get involved in the comments below, and anything you heard in today's video, any story you want to discuss, you want to raise a point, you want to debate, or have your say, always will read the comments and always get back to you too, as a promise, to get involved in the comments below. And anything you agree with me on, disagree with me on, think I'm talking rubbish, let me know in the comments below. But come on, you Spurs. Thanks for watching.